The 2000 vintage tour starts in Roanoke, Virginia. We are based in the Clarion Hotel. Here it is. I understand we're not having too many cars, perhaps only 8. Here's Paul Durval's car from Canada. Murmy Carger's newly restored Ghost. Ralph Lindquist's Ghost. A Wraith from Canada. Walter Blanco brought this Albany Tourer. Although it's a fairly early Ghost, it has 4-wheel brakes. Blore and Molly Redding drove this one all the way from Indianapolis. And here are the cars. We're having our cocktail hour. We don't have many people, and yet we have many places set. I'm taking another shot of the cocktail hour because Adrian West and Kate have arrived. Very quiet and sedate cocktail party. The decibels have risen a little bit, but not too much. This attractive lady is Sheila Denny, who is running this tour. The dinner hour has arrived. We're sitting down. We've had a very fine dinner. It's almost over. Sheila Denny, who is our leader.
Regarding the book. I have a few changes. On Tuesday at Pizza Bar, we need to be there at 11:45 instead of at noon. And excuse me, I need to go get my book and my glasses.
She had to interrupt in order to go get her glasses.
Meet with the news people either at the Mill Mountain Star or at the Overlook on the Blue Ridge Parkway around 11 tomorrow. And there will be a photographer at the Overlook, and he will be charging if you would like to have a 5x7 glossy. It will be $7.50, and it will be delivered to us on Friday. And you just approach him and tell him if you would like to
I'm going to sign off at this point.
Our Rolls-Royce Owners Club, publications guy, and he's going to be here through tomorrow, correct, Ben? And he's going to be taking pictures of the cars.
This is the first day of our tour. The cars are scattered. But we'll be ready to go soon. Walter Blanco is taking down his top and making it disappear into the part which we used to call the boot. Today I'm riding in this 1938 Wraith belonging to Claude Dubois of Canada. A rear view of this very pretty Wraith. Murmy Carger is leaving. We're on our way. We have several of our cars ahead of us. A shot of downtown Roanoke. Another view. We're going through a residential area now. Some very nice houses in here.
Probably they have a nice scenery.
More. Here's a tree in the middle of the road, and they built the road around it rather than take the tree down. We're on Mill Mountain, and this is Roanoke below us. This is the star that's on the mountain. Here's the engine of Dick Buckingham's 4 1/4 Bentley. The car itself the other cars parked on Mill Mountain. We're underway once again. That's Blue Redding's car ahead of us here. A very lovely road. Road once again, and we're not following any other of our cars. Our cars are parked for lunch. Lunch is going to be at Broad Tavern. We're seated for lunch.
complain about doing soup because you know what the counter would be.
We're in the midst of dinner, or lunch.
I just missed because they could see so for
After lunch, we're all lined up here, waiting for the leader who is in Walter Blanca's car, going down there. We're on the road again. We're back in the urban area. We've made a stop in Newcastle just to stretch our legs. It's a typical small town. Some of our participants here. After that little rest stop, we're on the road again. We're going through quite a windy road here, narrow and windy. Well, we've gotten slightly lost, so we're taking the scenic route to get to where we're going to have dinner. Well, we think we know where we are, and we believe we're heading in the right direction. We've arrived at Fincastle, where we are to have dinner. We're arriving at our destination, thanks to Tex Ritter, who directed us. And here are some. Larry Glenn has had his foot run over. One of the cars got loose and he was trying to stop it. It ran over his foot. Here's the foot.
Just glad you guys are here to
We've arrived at Miller's, and we're having our drinks in their tavern. We're now sitting down to dinner. Here's one part of our group, and here's another part. Here we are in the middle of dinner. We're having dessert, and I think it might be a good idea for me to end the video at this point for the day. We're about to start our second day of touring. The cars are still scattered. Well, we're on our way. We're on the Blue Ridge Parkway, and ahead of us is Richard Buckingham in his Bentley. It's quite hazy out there. In fact, you can't see very much of the valley. We're at an elevation of about 2,700 feet. And here's the valley below us. And Myrmidon's car, in which I'm riding today. We're on our way again. Paul Duval is ahead of us, with his very nice mother, Simone. We've arrived at the Peaks of Ada on the Blue Ridge Parkway, and we're going to have lunch here. We're sitting down to lunch.
Every day I'm trying at it.
This is our tour director, Sheila Denning. It's only the back of her head, I grant you.
Yesterday was
We're all seated now. We finished lunch and we're leaving. Well, we're leaving this lunch spot. We're taking a shuttle bus to the top of Sharp Top Mountain. It's a very curvy road. Unfortunately, I will not be able to make it to the top. So here's one shot, hazy, at the point where the bus terminated. Well, our tourists have been up to the top and are now getting back in the bus. We're on our way down. And here's a view looking west. Here we have a switchback. We're going to have to go around this circle all the way around. Then we're going to go down the road on the left. We came down the one on the right. Just like a railroad. Well, we're back off the mountain. Here are the cars. Some of the cars leaving. That's Walter Blanco. The only P1 on the tour. Myrmidon and the Ghost. Ralph Lindquist and Brenda Clark and his Ghost. We're back on the Blue Ridge Parkway, and I'm still in Murmy's car. We're running parallel to I-81. We're on Route 11, also known as the Lee Highway. As I said before, we're paralleling Interstate 81. Here it is. We've arrived at the Natural Bridge Hotel. Quite sizable. My hotel room overlooks this. Our cars are parked below. This building is the entrance to take a view of the Natural Bridge. We're now going to take a view of the Natural Bridge of Virginia. And here it is, Route 11, which for many years was the main highway north and south here, runs over it. Another shot. One can walk along this small stream under the bridge and beyond. It must be a great place for contemplation. All these benches face the bridge. People must sit here and just think. A final shot, and some of our tourists coming along here too.
The bus driver said
Yeah.
that he met on the bus.
While I'm down in the parking lot, I'd like to take this shot of the hotel. We're in Natural Bridge and about to have dinner.
We had a barbecue outdoors.
We're still at the beginning of dinner, but we've ordered.
I learned to drive on
Dinner has been in progress. In fact, it's almost over. In case I haven't told you, this is Murmy Carger's birthday. sitting at the head of the table here, and very shortly we'll have a birthday cake.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Bernie.
Happy birthday to you.
And many more, many more.
And here we have a bit of a present from Paul Doval.
I hope you have space in your carpet.
There we go. Super jumbo card. That's the back. On your birthday from all of us. Well, I guess you've all seen this.
No. Read it.
You read it. You read it and turn it around. It couldn't have been signed without giving the whole thing a while.
Yeah, so we'll have it signed now.
That's it. I'm sure this is a good idea, but we started out with one wish, then we added more and more, and then before we knew it, we had wishes and wishes galore.
Aha.
Have a terrific day, happy birthday, lots of luck, and many more. Thank you all very much.
Indeed, you're very welcome. So could I have...
It's a question of whether, what?
Could I have...
Oh, of course. I'd love that. Thank you very much. Thank you all very much.
Thank you,
So we'll start.
We've had a very nice evening and a birthday party. And it's like everything else. We must sign off. The third day of our tour looks as though it's going to be a fair one. Here are the cars being made ready. This morning I'm riding with Blue Redding in his P2. We're now traveling on the Blue Ridge Parkway. A very beautiful parkway. We're on the Route 43 and it's a windy road. Another sharp turn. We're entering the Cyrus McCormick farm. I presume this is the McCormick house.
Crack out my camera.
Molly,
Look at where you're
bring my camera too, will you?
Photograph there.
Please.
Before you leave now.
We have this spot to have a 10 o'clock refreshment.
Oh, yeah. We were leaving, but...
We have a couple of little friends, kitty cats.
How do you open these?
We sort of pull down.
This one's looking for food.
We don't need the book.
A very congenial spot and group of people. Our little friend cleaning
And it's
herself.
to advertise their cars.
Of the homestead.
But you'll be sorry you weren't.
This is the car I'm riding in today.
Probably.
Belongs to the Reddings. We're on the road again. We're going through the village of Raffine. We're going through Brownsburg, designated as a pretty town. We're going to take a carriage ride around Lexington.
2 up and 2 down, and chimneys
We're
were
on our
placed
way.
on either end, so they'd have a fireplace in every room, and there was windows placed in the front office were.
Further on,
Down at the base of the hill, you can see the Virginia Military Institute, founded in 1839 on the site of an old state arsenal, and it was the west point of the South. He gave it to his oldest son, Jacob, as an advance on his inheritance before they lowered the streets. Now, when the streets were lowered, Jacob refused the view of the front porch. On May 15, 1864,
VMI up
the
on the
entire
hill.
student body of VMI fought in the Battle of Newmarket in Skips.
here's a little shot of
The
Washington and
1820s
Lee
was a time
College.
of prosperity, and that's when the colonnade was built. That's the 6 buildings in red with white columns in front of them. And the largest one is called Washington Hall.
This is Lee Chapel.
His entire family is presently interred with him now, even his parents who were moved here from manufacturer of the school. He invented the first mechanized
More
wagon
Washington and Lee
north
buildings
of Lexington in 1831.
hidden by trees.
The Lee Chapel in Lee.
This beautiful building used to be the
Not
high
a bad
school.
frat house. There's an even nicer one coming up.
The Paxton House.
Yeah, not
Here's the
not
Undertaker.
General Paxton. His house is up on Main Street. He lived there from 53 to
This
83.
is the
And the
rectory.
current rector and his family lived there as well. Now you see
We're
this
getting
house
into
over here on the left,
residential.
this brick house. They call it the Skinny, and they called it the Pines.
Another beauty.
It is a beauty, and Reverend Pendleton thought so. He bought it for his retirement home in 1883. In front of us is the under the petticoat while the house was searched. He saved the house from destruction and then Jackson's sword from capture.
Another
This is
beauty.
the other fraternity house. It's the only one in the neighborhood that's not owned privately. You can see big white house with the black
Interesting.
trim on our right, with the captain's watch or widow's walk up on it, is the beginning of what they call Godwin's Row.
Another one. Another one. Still another.
Air conditioning didn't work too good in here.
Yeah. Well, at least the sun went in. From 1841 to 1819, gray iron cross in front of them, and there were 6 Confederate generals buried here. There's Stonewall Jackson's tomb and monument. It was dedicated on July 21, 1891, 30th anniversary of Jackson in the spring of 58. The
Jackson's
Jacksons bought
buried
the plot
here.
next door, and they buried her there in May. The general who leads from the front and from behind.
Looking down the main street.
And he was always disdainful of any flank were swept away like dust in a
Notice
whirlwind.
this.
And Jackson and his men said that was not his wish. He wanted to be
Coming to
brought
the
back
end of
here
our ride.
and buried in his own family plot with their daughter in Lexington. And then they brought him his daughter for a final visit, and they began to let in the staff so that they could be there to support Jackson and his wife while the...
Here's another load. Some of our people are on board. And here are the colonnades I spoke about earlier in Washington and Lee University. Here's the campus of VMI. This is one of the main buildings.
He's being missed.
Another view of it. We're departing the campus of VMI. We're back on Route 11, which we will continue on until we get to Natural's Bridge. We're coming into Natural Bridge.
Pick up the cone.
That would be greatly appreciated. I think we were about here.
It is the 4th day of our tour. Our cars have not been awakened, but will be soon. I think the only car that's gone is Mermy Carger's. Today I'm riding in this 2025. It's a 1934 car owned by Dave Brooke. Well, we're on our way.
Well, I'm sorry I'm so slow in getting going. I told you 9 o'clock and the book said after I got upstairs and read it, we could leave at 9:45 and it's now 9:50.
We're going right along. And that's Ralph Lindquist ahead of us. We're still on 501 South. We're entering Jefferson's Poplar Forest. A little further along, is the house. Our tourists are gathered. I've been instructed that pictures are allowed only outside. This is the smokehouse. A view of the house. This was Thomas Jefferson's retirement plantation. One of the poplar trees. And this place is named after the poplars. The front entrance. A final view of Poplar Forest Plantation. Lunch today is here at Poplar Forest under a tent, and it's a box lunch. Here we are sitting down. The box lunch is over and we're ready to go on our way.
In the flood zone.
Getting ready to go.
The water goes up.
We're on the road again. We're visiting the National D-Day Memorial. It is this arch. Also, this statue the face of that statue a statue of a fallen soldier. A nearer view of the arch. We're heading home. We're getting near Roanoke, and the traffic is increasing. We are on Hirschberger Road, very near the end of our trip. The first car to come back to the hotel today is Anne Klein's Albany Ghost, driven by Walter Blanco. And here I'm going to finish the day's video. On our last day of touring, we have an addition. Richard Buckingham's wife, Emily, has come, and we'll ride with him in his beautiful roadster. Here's Emily.
So we didn't really go into the town. We went to the gas station.
Okay. Claude Dubois is having some trouble with his car this morning. Seems the spark is not reaching the plugs. We have the usual number of mechanics and helpers.
Rather classic style. Good.
Today I'm riding with the Reddings again, but I'm in the back seat. Our first stop is the Transportation Museum. An old three-wheel hand car.
We gotta go this way and find
A small station. Inasmuch as this is a transportation museum, they even have a small plane which was built in 1964 and a covered wagon. Older type seats. A horse-drawn hearse. This is known as an extended roof rockaway. A Studebaker wagon. Curved-dashed Oldsmobile. Someone must have goofed here. This is an old-fashioned telephone, but it has a handset as well as the transmitter on the box. An old Norfolk and Western locomotive. A newer car. And a newer locomotive. An old-time caboose, quite dilapidated. Here are its drive wheels. And the piston. This is a familiar sight. We have a model train going along here. And another one. Once again. This one's going over a trestle. This one's coming out of the tunnel. And here I end my visit to the Transportation Museum. The next stop in Roanoke is Market Square. Rather interesting place.
Just rummaging. I just haven't seen yellow chew your pants.
Very much like the markets in Europe. These red and yellow things are called October beans. I don't think I've ever seen them before. These trucks are all backed up into the markets. Looking down to Market Square. We're going to have lunch at 309 First Street. Here's the interior. Some of our people are here ahead of us. We've had a very nice luncheon here. And we're about to leave. With this shot, I'm saying goodbye to the market area of Roanoke. We just rode back from the marketplace in this stretch limousine. Well, I'm riding along with Laura Redding again. We are about to start our cocktail hour before the final banquet. We're getting a few more people. You must remember, of course, that we didn't have a large group to start with. We're seated for dinner. Dinner has progressed. In fact, we're about ready for dessert.
I forgot to mention last Sunday evening, the gift bags for the cars, or for you regarding your cars, were donated by Rudy and Elaine Rosales, and we do appreciate that. The longest distance traveled to the 2000 Vintage Tour, I think that award goes to Paul Dorval. Thank you, Paul. Murmy? This compass is a spare in case you're EMAT. Stop. How's that?
It's a little compass.
To find your way.
Oh,
Yes, she's going on.
Murmy has an EMAT.
For my GPS unit there.
You better rely on that.
Martin, here is your very own car to tour next year for the Vintage Tour. And Richard, here is another plane for you to fly, guest into, for the Vintage Tour next year.
One a day.
That's correct. Bonnie, this glow-in-the-dark Slinky is for you to use while Dave is trying to find his way home in the dark.
Very appropriate.
Claude, this is hogwash. It is used for cleansing your hands, and since you have been so helpful with the mechanics for yours and Paul's cars this week, that's for you.
Thank you.
Herb?
Why are you backing away from him?
What is it?
Well, since you were so impressed with Anne Klein's Woodland Silver Ghost that Walter has driven to the tour this year, would you please build us one so we can go on the Vintage Tour next year? And Harry, you're going to have to put your camera down.
Cars laboring in the quarries and now with computers, Rolls-Royce Owners Club. In appreciation to Sheila Denny for your efforts, dedication, and commitment as chairman of the 2000 Vintage Tour, September 10 through 15, 2000. There you are. Now, I think let's do better. Let's all stand up and give her a hand. Now, I understand there are a few other clowns who would like to make comments about her effective leadership. So Murmy has them all listed.
Claude?
Sheila, I have to thank you for the way you can see in advance what will happen. Because, you know, she got me in touch with that mechanics who fixed my car just 2 or 3 months ago. Sure, so most probably God is telling her what will happen, or maybe she is one.
Well, I'd like to thank Sheila. This is my second tour, and I'd have to say this is such a warm group. I've enjoyed everybody here, and I think you made me feel really welcome just as we walked in the door. And Bonnie, and it's just been put on superbly. Even the few little glitches in the mileage of the book added a little excitement to the tour. And I want to thank you very much.
Thank you, Dave.
Martin?
Well, unlike Bloor, I am not an old fossil, but I have been in the club for only 5 years, but I've gone on quite a few tours because I go on a few every year. And I would say this is really tops. It was a great tour. It was well planned. You made me feel comfortable, even from the minute I signed up, even before I signed up by inviting me. And I think that you've done a lot to help a group of people really get along and to have a lot of fun together and do things together on this tour. And I
Thank
really
you,
appreciate
Martin.
it.
Thank you, Sheila.
Thank you very much.
Can I say something? Sure. Well, this is my first tour down south, and I want to say this is the best organized tour I've ever been on. Every food item has been perfect that we've eaten here at this hotel. We did have an experience at one restaurant where Kurt was not happy. Others were not happy, but that was dessert. But Sheila has thought about all the little things, and I bet she's called my room 3 times to remind me, don't be late to this, drink this paper, etc. She's just, her mind is, how she can keep track of 25 people's details is beyond comprehension. She must have a super checklist system, and I noticed that all her notes for this the remarks that she's made tonight have been in shorthand. So she's a very organized lady.
One thing I do feel that Sheila has an other half.
Yes.
And I've been in the position of other halves when my wife ran tours. So I do think we have to say thank you, Herb, for donating her to the club.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to say something about Sheila? You're opening your mouth.
Nothing was coming out. See, everyone feels the same way, I guess, except I feel 4 times. You may think I'm the only one who really took full advantage of it. To all 4 of us, thank you. We had a great time, each and every one of us. And I think David was really great. He had a great time. He made it feel very welcome, as did all of the rest of you, and I thank you all for that. And I think we'll see him maybe on next year's finish. So thanks.
Very good.
And with this,
Unfortunately, this is the end. Oh, in the morning, please leave early. There's a Virginia Tech game which begins at noon, and the highways will be very, very crowded. Just want you to know.
All highways are just that one.
we are signing off
81.
here.